Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. I had something I dug up out of the closet and decided to share with you guys, take a little break from the normal type of content, and show you this, my three original pre-constructed decks for the Aliens Predator card game. Now you'll see it is not Aliens versus Predator, it is simply Aliens Predator. This came out in 1997 and I was a high school student at the time, and I bought the three pre-constructed decks. Of course, they are for the aliens, the predators, and the colonial marines. And this was a card game that was licensed by Fox, who gave over the IP to a company that had a game system and then developed the artwork and the particular flavor and everything for aliens and predator and the marines to kind of shove it into their existing game system. And so the really interesting thing about that is they made other games that technically play together with these decks. There's a Terminator themed game that plays with the same rule set that would come out a year, 2 or 3 years later, and also flop the way this one did. And so I went through these. I finally was able to find a list online of the order that the cards came in when you bought the pre-constructed decks. And it's really weird the way it worked because you would buy these 60 card decks and they would come, every one of them would come with the same 50 cards in the same order and then 10 additional random cards that were different deck to deck. And it's funny because when I was researching this, trying to find some information about it, one of the things that I found people saying in a couple different places is that when they looked back at their old decks, they would find that they had, for instance, an alien pre-constructed deck that, because of the random 10 cards added to it, also had unplayable predator or marine cards in it. Cards that required some specific capability or other items or something that only the different groups could use. Oh, this was neat. So each one had this kind of little tip card for, things that you should focus on when you're playing this type. The Predator was interesting because you would have your one Predator character you would play, and you could get equipment over the course of the game, but every time you got some equipment, you would lose honor because you were using more technology and weapons and equipment. And then every time you killed something, you gained honor. And when you got to a certain honor threshold as the Predator, you won the game. And of course, as any of the groups, you could win the game by simply killing everyone else. And so I've kind of wondered, like, if you were playing Predator, why would you not just bulk up on all the best equipment, take all the hits to your honor, but then be so overpowered that you could absolutely just crush everything else? I don't know. Maybe there was a good reason for that. And here's, of course, Michael Biehn in all his masculine toughness from the 1980s. Kyle Reese in The Terminator. He was in Aliens. So many other great movies in that era and beyond. Navy SEALs. You guys remember Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez? Yeah, he was in that. There's their little tips for playing the Marines. And, of course, a lot of Marine-themed stuff. A lot of the artwork on this is pretty lazy. I mean, look at that. Yeah, it's just a capture from when the guy was running up the ramp into the drop ship in the second Alien movie. So, and of course, the late great Bill Paxton. Oh man, an actor who holds the distinction with only one other person of having been killed by aliens, predators, and Terminators. Do you know who the other actor is who was killed by Alien, by Predator, and by Terminators? Can you think of it? It's, of course, Lance Henriksen, who played the synthetic person in the second Aliens movie. He was a police detective in the first Terminator movie. And when did Predator kill him? Was it in Predator 2, I believe? No, it was in one of the Alien versus Predator movies. So, this game revolved around putting these locations down, moving your group of people between them, either if you're the Marines, rescuing and arming the civilians, or if you're the aliens, capturing the civilians and using them to breed more aliens, or if you're the predators, just killing the civilians to gain honor points. These were the extra random cards that came in in the sets that I got. And of course, they will be kind of a mess of cards for all three classes or all three races or whatever you might call it in this game. And I found that I was missing one card, the Young Queen that goes in the Alien deck. So, why would I show all this? Let's kind of try to tie something in with what we normally talk about in this channel. This was a major IP. I mean, Aliens and Predator were both just amazing classic movies of the 1980s. The original Predator, that was a awesome, masculine, testosterone-fueled action movie that slowly devolves into a slasher horror film. It was such a great movie. And then Alien, the original, of course, a classic horror movie, followed by Aliens, which was a war movie, essentially, an allegorical war movie. But just great films, great IP. And of course, Fox would have had essentially unlimited money to make this work, to the extent that the amount of money it takes to make a card game work is a lot less than they could have put towards it. They had an existing card game company they were working with who was managing things, an existing game system. So, you would kind of think everything was stacked up in favor of this potentially working, and it didn't. They released the initial set, which had these 3 pre-constructed decks, and then you could buy booster boxes, which had booster packs in them, which had 15 random cards from the set. And the next year, in 1998, they released the only expansion for it, which was themed around the movie Alien Resurrection, which of course was the 4th Alien movie and was pretty bad. And so it failed. And, I think it says a lot about how hard it is to make a card game work. Every one of them came with one of these little spacers that sits in here so that the cards fit inside the box. And then it holds the die that comes with it. And they all came with what they call a quick start sheet, which shows you how to play. And for quick start, it sure seems to have about 10,000 words on it. Diagrams, how to make the mechanics work. And then it claims on the box, of course I'm not going to be able to refold this, but it claims on the box, every one of them also comes with a 64-page rulebook. And I do not have those. So likely I simply lost them. They've been lost to time from my possession. I probably took them out of these boxes and had them somewhere else when I was a kid in high school, and then over time they got thrown away. So I looked around in the couple of boxes of stuff from my childhood that I still have and didn't see them in there. So, like I said, this is a cool idea. The execution is a little sloppy. The artwork's a little lazy. I mean, you probably could have found something better in all the footage from all the existing Alien and Predator movies up to 1997 for Sprint. Certainly there was another actor at some point sprinting. I mean, this, you can barely even see what's going on. So, yeah, kind of a lazy attempt, and it failed, kind of predictably. Most card games fail. Most of the ones that are attempting to break into the industry today will fail. If a card game makes it past a couple of expansions, it's probably going to hang around for a good while. And you can look at games even like Force of Will that basically screwed up the way they were running their business for several years, and they've still managed to hang around with US distribution. Now they're more popular in Asia, but it goes to show that it's a very, very difficult industry to break into. But once you're there, there is quite a bit of staying power, because you can imagine there's a really strong sunk cost fallacy amongst players to say, well, I've invested hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in these cards, and I want to keep playing them. And as long as they still get some marginal enjoyment out of every additional marginal dollar they spend, they'll probably keep spending it. So that's the real lesson out of this. It's hard to get in, and once you're there, you're probably going to hang around for a long time. So let me know what you think. I thought this would be a nice change of pace for one video, just to kind of show these and maybe tell a lot of you for the first time that this even exists. So let me know, did you play any of this? Did you actually buy any of the booster packs? I didn't. And finding information about this game is pretty hard, because Obviously, 1997, I mean, that was the year that I first got the internet in my house in high school. So there was not a strong online community talking about things for which there would still be records of today. So I looked around on YouTube and only found about a dozen videos on all of YouTube pertaining to this game, and most of it was box openings. So maybe in the future, I'll get some friends together. You're supposed to play this game with three people at once, and you each play one plays aliens, one plays predator, and one plays marines, and so it's one on one, which I imagine kind of sucks as a way to play a game because if you just manage to turtle up really hard and the other two players hurt each other really bad, then you can probably just win. So it seems like it's a dumb way to organize a game, but I'll at some point I'm gonna get some friends together. We'll figure this game out, and then we'll post some content of playing it, or at least our thoughts afterwards. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot, everyone.